Welcome to brand new, but still the same in so many ways. Welcome to Undisputed Nerds. That's right, Undisputed Nerds with your boys, Senpai Zane, and the wonderful Gentleman Gamer.
Hello, everyone in Radioland. Undisputed, Zane. Undisputed Nerds.
Absolutely, we're undisputed. So if you didn't know, we like to talk about comic books, movies, TV shows, but mainly comic books. That's kind of our jam. That's kind of our bread and butter, but it's okay. We talk about a few other things as well.
We bleed into all avenues of nerdiness.
Chef kisses.
Oh dear. This is not a cooking show.
But if you are wondering where's all the anime talk, where's all the talk about the beautiful mangas out there, do not worry, my friend. The Taku Podcast is still here for you. If you want to subscribe to that channel link will be in the description down below. You can check out all the videos with myself and Susu Day where we have our deep dive discussions about beautiful anime and manga. This week's episode is about Spring Anime 2021, so worth checking out if you want to stay in the know. But you're not here for that today. You are here today to talk about the finale.
It was determined. The reason why I'm not on that podcast is my name is not anime enough, unfortunately. So hence why we're here.
You failed the test.
I did. I'm far too gentlemanly, as you can tell by my appearance. For those watching instead of listening.
But you are here to find out about the finale of Falcon and Winter Soldier. We're going to talk about that. We'll also talk about Captain America 4. What?
What?
I
what?
Know. But before all of that, should we do some news?
Oh, I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it, Zane.
Yeah.
I want you to hit me with some heavy news.
Ooh. I'm going to come out of the gate with a nice little fun one, actually. DC Fandom is returning this October.
Fandom. The Fandom itself.
Did you happen to check in on the last one?
Yes, it was fantastic. It was much better than Comic-Con. Of course I did. Yeah, DC Fan. I think so. DC Fandom took everyone by surprise. I think last year because in the midst of this global that we're in at the moment.
Yes.
But we're coming out of, guys. We're on the way out. Comic-Con was a really damp squib last year. Like it was almost to the point of being a little bit depressing because it's just like you expect like big things from grand things from, it's got such a rich history of giving us such massive exclusives and trailers and all these huge things. And last year it was just, DC wasn't even there because they were doing their own thing. And it was, and I don't think Marvel's presence was huge at Comic-Con last year, from what I can gather. I definitely don't remember there being any massive things to come out of it. But Fandom was like everyone. It was funny because I remember in the run up to it, everyone was just like taking the mick out of it, just being like, it's just going to be one of these like rubbishy, like Warner Brothers, like oh yeah, look at our streaming service coming up, and oh look, you'll be able to spend this much money to get this, and this, and then like it was really good. Like the concept was really stupid, like virtual domes that the fans can go into.
Hand drawn by Jim Lee.
Yeah, yes, I like Jim Lee. I've got nothing against him, but really, you've got one of the most amazing artists in the world, and you're going to use his talents to draw domes. But I thought, the crowning achievement on Fandom last year was the Batman trailer, and my personal preference. That whole thing blew me away.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what else came out of Fandom. I know. Suicide Squad. There was a Suicide Squad trailer. There was the announcements of the games as well. The Gotham Knights and Suicide Squad game. There was a lot of stuff that came out of Fandom, which was kind of like, oh, DC are doing stuff. That's good.
Yeah, you're right. There were so many sort of announcements and such. And even if there wasn't trailers, like again, there was announcements like confirmation that we'll be getting a Shazam 2 and an Aquaman 2. Um, so yeah, I'm really looking forward to October the 16th is when the next fandom will happen.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what things they might announce there. I wonder if, because I think they finished filming the Batman now, so I wonder if there'll be another trailer for Batman for that, because the last one came out as kind of the Batman. The last one came as kind of a surprise. Nobody expected it to drop because they'd only filmed like 20% of the movie at that point in time.
Exactly.
But like, I don't know what they're gonna. I'm trying to think of what movies. I mean, obviously Aquaman 2 is still coming up. Shazam, I don't think, have they started filming Shazam? I don't think they've started filming. Oh, sorry, Shazam 2. Just add a 2 to everything that I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly.
Have they started filming it?
I'm not sure, if I'm brutally honest, but I've seen a few people tweet their ideas. So a lot of people asking for a release date of Gotham Knight 2. Gotham Knights. So they want it. You've already got me thinking about sequels.
It's like instinct now.
Yeah.
Whatever DC's doing, just add 2 onto the end of it.
A Titans trailer, because they're still working on the Titans TV series.
Season 3.
Mm-hmm. The other thing as well is probably footage of Black Adam with The Rock.
Yeah. Oh, have they actually started film? Are you sure they've started filming that?
Yeah, they've only just started filming it.
Okay. All right. That you've brought up a few very interesting points there. So I want your opinion. On Gotham Knights, not 2. Gotham Knights 1. Your Suicide Squad. I wonder if they'll probably do something for Suicide Squad as well. Will they, or when is that out before DC fandom?
The movie, the James Gunn version. I think it's out in the summer. I want to say it's. I don't want to say it's July, but I think it might be August.
If it's not out, I wouldn't be surprised if we see some footage from that. I would guess. But yeah, I mean, Black Adam.
Yes.
The main issue I have with DC at the moment, and this is across the board in their movies. We will talk about Gotham Knights in a minute. Sorry, I will come back to that. But my main issue with DC at the moment is that with Marvel, and I don't mean to sound like a Marvel here, so that's what I'm coming across as. But the main issue I have with DC is that it doesn't feel like there is a coherent vision for DC. And they are trying to make a big deal about interconnecting all of these worlds, which is fine if you want to do it, but have like a coherent vision for it. Because right now, and it's been this way for a little while, it feels like they are just throwing as much shit against the wall and seeing what sticks. And that is really annoying to me. Like, I would much rather have everything is separate and they're making these individual, interesting films, and maybe they drop in a few like hints and tips here. Like it's funny, I can't believe I cite this good example, but the old X-Men universe, like way back when, they used to have these they used to have these movies, and then they would have like little nods and hints and tips about other stuff that's going on in the wider world. Like they used to have like computer graphics where it used to have files on like Omega Red or like Apocalypse, and then everyone, all the fanboys were just like that's just me in the cinema. I annoyed a lot of people. But like I would much rather have a DC universe that does that. So you have like this clear, like Joker was a good example of that, where I mean, I will say this: Joker was basically a gangster movie. Joker slapped over the top of it. But that being said, controversial take. Look at me. But like, shots fired. But like, it was just a gangster movie that was its own independent thing, right?
Yeah.
And I think that like I enjoyed Joker. I thought it was really good. Like I thought it was genuinely really good. And I think the main reason why I enjoyed it was it wasn't worried about a wider picture. It was just worried about being a good film.
Yes.
And I would, and I think Shazam was kind of similar to that, to be honest with you. First Shazam, I really enjoyed Shazam. It came out of nowhere for me, and I thought it was
Absolutely
excellent.
same. Like I really enjoyed what they did with it.
Yeah. So if they are to continue down this path of like making nice independent films that stand on their own 2 feet with a little hint and tip and trick here and there, because that's again that actually follows the first wave. They made their own things, and then typically you'd get an after credits scene which would hook all together, and then they came together in this big Avengers movie, and then built it from there. That worked. That's the formula. You know, that worked really well. So if they were going to do that again, I just don't see where it's all going. You know what I mean? Like that's the issue I have with it.
I think our answers would probably be our questions will probably be answered in the Flashpoint movie, because it feels like you say they'll probably go in this whole idea that, you know, their individual things are happening. So you could say almost similar to a comic book sense, like the Joker movie is a black label book compared to main continuity. It's not really in continuity, but it still exists as a graphic novel. It's that kind of idea, I guess.
Yeah, it's the 52 universes, but it's such a stupid idea. I mean, I still don't understand whose motivation it was to limit the multiverse into 52.
Yeah, well, I mean, Grant Morrison wanted to get paid, so
yeah, that's true.
He has a castle.
They just bring in Alan Moore out of his hobbit hole. That's what it was.
He won't come back.
He's always gonna be there. He's always gonna be there, Zane. He's just gonna hang around in the background, doing his own thing.
So yeah, DC fandom, something to really look forward to, and something else to look forward to is The Boys season 3. So we got a comment from Lars Alonso, which comes from Collider, which
Alonso, huh?
I know, right? The quote is that The Boys season 3 will be 3 times bloodier than the last season.
How? How is that possible? They murdered a whale. That's ridiculous. Well, well, thank you for the input, Mr. Alonso. That is I'm not surprised, but equally I will be surprised by how much. I think I saw a rumor that they were going to do Herogasm, which is if you don't know what that is, I won't go into too much detail because it's a semi-family friendly podcast, folks. But basically think of a superhero orgy, and that's effectively what it is. And I heard they were gonna. It's one of the most controversial things that Boys, the comics, and I've heard they're going to adapt it for TV. So yeah, I don't. The idea that it's going to get even bloodier makes me now terrified. Combined with that, I really enjoyed The Boys. I think it's a really good. It's interesting that they bring up the mention of like it being bloodier, because I do wonder how popular The Boys would have been if it hadn't have been so ultra violent. Because literally, I was thinking about this the other day. I was trying to remember season 2,
right?
And the only parts of season 2 that I can remember are the really visceral, violent bits of it. And I don't know whether that's
factor, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Like the whale bit sticks a lot in my mind because it's really horrible. That bit reminds my mind. The bit where the what's her name? Oh god, I've forgotten her name. Zane, I'm so sorry. Stormbreaker, Stormcatcher,
yes.
Storm Nazi. Where like she gets like fried basically at the end by Homelander's son. Like that bit is horrifically bad, and then she's just talking in German at the end of it because her whole brain's been fried. That's like, what the hell? What the hell? I don't remember much about like I don't remember interspatial scenes in it. Like I don't remember a lot about Starlight. I don't remember a lot about Huey
Yeah,
and the Butcher, like their interpersonal relationships. I barely remember that the Butcher's wife passed away. Like I barely remember any of that. It's
yeah,
only
yeah,
the ultraviolet bits, and I do wonder is if the Boys wasn't as ultraviolet as it is in the comic, if it would be as popular of a show. And I don't know whether that, I'm getting into deep philosophical things here, but I don't know whether that's a sign of our society today. Is like shock value has become so imprinted on our memory that if how much story is sacrificed for somebody getting run through and being minced. You know,
yeah. I guess to an extent you could say it's the Quentin Tarantino effect, like or a roller coaster effect. It's like
yeah,
you don't remember the start to finish of a roller coaster, but you remember the bits that kind of shock you and wow you whilst you're on that roller coaster. And as long as you
yeah, I
walk
guess
away
so.
from it like I enjoyed that, then that's the best sort of imprint it could have on you, even if it is ultra violent or shocking. As long
Yeah,
as you walk away from it thinking, actually, that was a decent film or decent media.
yeah. Yeah. I don't know if it's Tarantino influence. I don't know how much of it boils down to like the torture porn, like cinema that we've had for the last like 20 years from Hostel and stuff like that, and whether that's just sunk into pop culture so much that it's like, oh yeah, you can tell these stories, but then we've got to add in some like horrifically like a lady popping a guy's head when she's getting fellatio. It's like, but yes, I am excited for The Boys season 3. I think it's going to be really good. I think I love like Billy Butcher. The only thing I don't like about the show, I actually the actor who plays Huey, Meg Ryan's son. I really don't like him. It should have been. It should. He's too old for it now. And he, ironically enough, he played his dad. But it should have been Simon Pegg.
I know, I know.
There you go. Carl Urban is amazing. So I love Carl Urban in anything he's in, and I hope that they do the. I hope he's involved at least in the Mega City One TV series that they're apparently doing, because he was born to be Judge Dredd. So yeah.
Fingers crossed.
What do you think of The Boys?
Oh, I think it's fantastic. I think it captures what Ennis was trying to put across is that superhero stuff is dumb. And if it was as real as we all wished and hope it was, it would be this massive corporation machine that we'd all feed into and stuff.
Oh yes.
So I love the whole sort of dark premise behind it. Even though as a fan of comic books and everything else, I appreciate it. I think if anything, I probably more enjoyed the TV show more than the comic, just because
Really?
I struggled to read the comic. And I don't know if that's just because of the art style or whatever, but I really struggled to read it. But when it comes to the TV show, obviously it's easier to digest because it's for a broader audience, isn't it? Maybe I'm just
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's the the comic is bleak, man. Like it's a
yeah.
bleak. It is no, there's not. It's not a happy comic,
No.
and the themes in it are super extreme. And it is a lot. It's a lot more visceral than the show.
Yeah.
In many ways. In many ways it isn't. In many ways it is. But yeah, it's. I mean, I really enjoyed. I've only read up to, I think, volume, like as far as the collection's concerned. I've only read up to 3, I think.
Yeah.
Which was the Herogasm thing, and then I tuned out after that. But like, you know, once you've got what you wanted out of it, just move on, right?
Yeah,
Come on.
exactly.
But yeah, I don't. It's interesting because they're doing the thing that The Walking Dead seems to have done as well, which is they're diverging from the comics. Like it's
Mhm.
not following the same storyline, because obviously in the storyline, and oh god, what's his name? My brain is dead today. It's been a long week for the Gentleman Gamer. I was saying to Zane earlier, it's been. I apologize, guys. My brain is functioning on zero fuel lately. Um, what's his name?
Noir?
The yes, Black Noir. That's it. Yeah. obviously in the books, spoilers, guys, for those who haven't read a almost 20-year-old comic book, it turns out that Black Noir's a Homelander clone who is doing all the nasty stuff that Homelander is apparently doing. And obviously in the TV show, it's been revealed, I believe, from what I can remember, that Black Noir is not Homelander's clone. So, yeah, they're obviously going a completely different way with it. So I'll be interested to see where they do go with it. And for me, it is quite an interesting comparison with The Walking Dead, actually, because there's a lot of similarities in terms of, how it was set up versus how it's ended up.
Yeah.
I lost a lot of interest in The Walking Dead after Negan came into it. Not because Negan's a bad character or anything, and Jeffrey Dean Morgan's amazing. Like he's a fantastic actor,
definitely.
and he should be Batman in the Flashpoint. He 100%. Definitely should be. Sorry, Batflag. But like after that series when Negan came in, again, shock value, But after he came in, and then they got rid of Rick, which was like one of the weirdest things that I could think of like, I understand why Andy Lincoln didn't do it anymore, but like you just think, why would you get rid of like your main character? And I can see a lot of parallels between that and The Boys. I think if The Boys keeps going past a certain point, because Walking Dead's on like season 11, season 12.
I seriously, like you, I fell off the season Negan came into it.
So I can see like it's a worrying thing to like say I don't want The Boys to get dull, But no, I'm super excited for season 3, like you are, and I want to hear more from you about it.
I don't know what more I could say. Really, I'm looking forward to it. I'm interested to see what direction they go, the consequences of the last season again, just to kind of like see what happens to Emiko and obviously with Butch and stuff. So yeah, I'm interested to see where they go with it, and hopefully it'll be cool.
Do you think this season's going to be the season that they get Compound V? Because obviously in the books they have it's effectively like a popper or something they can take that gives them superpowers. Do you think this is going to be the season that they do that, and then it's going to be full on Butcher versus Homelander superpower fight?
I guess so. I was kind of expecting it to happen in season 2 with especially Huey and A-Train. I thought that might come to clash, but we didn't. Instead, we got that amazing scene with Iceman from X-Men, like breaking into. That's my favorite episode.
I forgot about that. Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I mean, they gave Huey a nice because A-Train having that heart attack and then saving him.
Yeah.
I guess it. You need to. I assume with that you need to show the difference between the guys and the bad in very straight lines, and the shades of grey are great for an interesting, compelling story as you don't know where they're going to go, but eventually there does have to be a point where it's like quite clear that these are the good guys, and if they were not good, he would have left him and not saved his life. And I think that's also Starlight is that influence that Huey is obviously pulled to her, and she's obviously a fundamentally good person trapped in this horrific world. Her intro scene's a lot different in the books as well.
Anyways, should we move on to the main dish?
Wow, you really are sticking with the chef's kiss idea tonight. Yes. Yes, let's do that. Let's talk about the Falcon and Winter Soldier. Cool. I am very, very keen to get your opinion on this because for those of you who watched my first podcast last week, we were under slightly different, but let's ignore that. I get to do a huge, delicious. Speaking of chef's kiss, I told you so to the senpai.
Yes.
What outfit did Falcon America have, Mr. Zane?
He happened to have a costume with wings.
Yes, he did. I called it. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, thoughts on the outfit? Oh, massive spoilers, by the way, for Falcon and Winter Soldier. If nobody's seen the finale, I don't know why you'd be listening to this podcast if you haven't,
yeah,
but you know.
There'll be time codes.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's fantastic. It is straight out of the comic book. It is like well adapted from straight from the pages. What more can you say? Really, it is just fantastic in that regard. My only gripe with it was the colors were a bit too prime.
Okay.
That was my only sort of, taken out of it sort of thing. I was like, whoa, like
Yeah. My biggest issue is how's he going to keep it clean? There's so much white in there. It's just
so
like,
much weight.
Honestly, get some blood on that, it's ruined.
But I have to admit as well, like, even though it's not part of the outfit, you could tell it's like separate. When he had his like big speech moment, it felt like there's parts where he can only move his head so much before he has to move his shoulders at the same time.
He's got the Keaton Batman issue.
Yeah, the old Keaton cowl. Like, he has to move his whole shoulders to see what dangers are coming.
That's great. Oh, I love that. I hope we're going back to that era, like where Batman couldn't, because it's even Batman where he couldn't move his head.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be fantastic. A whole new threat to the Marvel Universe. Head turning.
Mobility in the neck.
Everyone thought Thanos was the greatest villain, but no. Neck mobility is the true enemy of all heroes.
But again, the outfit's fantastic. I've seen a theory regarding the outfit as well, if you want to hear it.
You know I want to hear it. I always want to hear it.
So, in Captain America and the Winter Soldier, the movie, his outfit is obviously very familiar, but it's the stars with the sort of 3 stripes.
You're talking about Cap himself, not Falcon. Yeah, okay.
Cap's outfit. There's a theory that it's based on a flight formation with jet planes, and the idea is that it's that sort of triangular sort of flight path. But what normally happens is if a plane falls out of that formation and say they become lost or sadly perish, the formation adjusts to two stripes, and the theory goes that with Sam's, I should say, new outfit is that of course he's got the 2 stripes instead of the 3 because the third represents Steve.
Wow, you absolute nerd. That's an interesting theory, to be fair. I can totally see them doing something like that. I was quite surprised by the outfit in the sense of it was familiar yet fundamentally different. I like just comparing as far as MCU.
Yeah,
because when I think of Steve Rogers Captain America, predominantly it was blue, with some red and white slapped in there, and then the Falcons is so distinctly white with red and like blue slap dashed all over. It was a really nice way of starkly contrasting a previous outfit. And as you said, I mean, it is literally exactly the same as what comics, pretty much. There's some very minute differences, but if you were to open a page of current Avengers, it looks exactly like it does. It's amazing. I mean, we all knew that was what was going to be in the box at the end of the last episode. It was destined to do it. Yeah. I think that I made this argument last week. You cannot have a inverted commas weak human Captain America. Like, there has to be something about him that sets him apart, because he is fighting gods and monsters kind of thing. I think the episode itself felt a little bit rough to me. I think that you could tell it was a. I think they wanted to play out this long, nice, overarching story, and then they realized they only had 6 episodes to do it in, and so I gotta watch it. So yeah, I mean, it wasn't. I didn't find the finale as gripping as the rest of the season has been. I felt it was a little bit quick. But whilst just on the subject of Sam's outfit, I think that completely on point, and it was fantastic. And I'm very happy to see it, and I was very happy to see them do the whole shebang, do the wings and all. Bucky also has, like, I've noticed as well, he's properly gone into his full, like, Winter Soldier getup as of the comics. Like, he is now, he always looked kind of like it, but now he's like properly like, as in like hero Winter Soldier that you see in the books now. Like they fully converted both of them into, and obviously LeFrog Baltrock the Leaper, as we've dubbed him on the podcast. He was in full comic regalia as well. So it's they obviously are trying to steer away from the kind of grounding, in reality, character outfits and stuff like that, and just go into what it actually looks like. But then it's one of those things. It's like, it's just my head personally, but I still watched it and it was still super believable. Of like, that could be real life.
Yeah. Well, it takes place in the real world. What more?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, precisely.
But yeah, I really enjoyed it. Like you say, I think the pacing was a bit weird, shall we say? But then I wonder if that's kind of like the last 2 episodes are almost like a mini movie themselves. Like, I wonder if you watched it back to back, it feels like a straight into the next instead of a, split, wait a week, here's the fight.
I see what you mean. Yeah.
So yeah, that's one thing. And I guess like this one episode has to cover the battle and the aftermath to find out what happens, where everyone goes, and what the end result is and such. So I guess again it's kind of a weird pace in that regard. What do you think is next for Sam after this now?
Well, we know what's next for him. We'll come on to that. I want to, if it's okay with you, I want to go on some of the happened at the episode, because there was a couple of choice little tidbits in there that I did. First of all, what was your favorite part of that episode? Because I can cite my exact favorite part if you would like me to.
Yeah, you go ahead.
It was when Sam's fighting what's her face, Ginger Redhead,
the flag smasher, basically. The
flag smasher. Yeah, what's her name now? Kira?
Kyrie? No, it's not Kyrie. Carry on anyway.
Yeah. It's when he's fighting her, and in an effort to counter her super strength, he embeds his wings in the ground and blocks her. I was like, that is awesome. That is so cool.
That is some choreography right there.
Oh, dude, it was just so well done. Yeah, just going over some of the other stuff in the episode. I didn't like personally. I didn't like when John Walker turned up and was suddenly good. That was just like, you've just beheaded a guy like 2 episodes previously, and now you're turning up and saving. It was totally randomly rushed character development, which I was just like, man, that's so odd, because like you've set him up to be this like proper like villain, villain cap, like US agent. You've set him up to be that, and this proper, I don't give a damn about, I just want to enact as much justice, inverted commas, justice as possible.
Yeah.
And then you've got him coming along, saving them, saving these people
last minute.
It just felt do you know what I mean? It just felt really like,
I know what you mean. He kind of went on the rampage. His shield got pummeled.
Yeah.
like you would imagine. And then he had a mild headache.
Yeah. He had a mild headache, and then he's got the super soldier serum, so I know that, I know that equates to. But then it's also like, they did the classic like buddy cop thing of like, they fought for a bit and then they're friends, and like Bucky and him at the end are all just like, hey, how's it going? Yeah. You trying to kill each other, like literally in the last episode. What is going on with you guys? That's so weird.
Yeah, I think it was the only way to kind of redeem him enough so that the US would use him as US agent. Like, in my headcanon, I thought he's going to save them and they'll be like, oh, you could come back as an agent.
Yeah. Oh, take this agent badge. But as we established last week, we believe on this show. I think I'm speaking for you, Mr. Zane, but we believe that they are going to be doing some form of the Thunderbolts / Dark Reign, Dark Avengers next, and that is well, unless it's the Dark Avengers, a public-facing thing, but the Thunderbolts are a covert team.
Yeah.
You know, they're almost they're not exactly, and you know, we're going to get comments for this, but they're the equivalent of like the Marvel version of like the Suicide Squad, in the sense of like they handle Black Ops missions under the radar kind of thing. They're not they're not a well-known team. They are a well-known team, obviously, to us, but I just mean in the you know. So it was just really weird. It was very weird change. Bucky went exactly as I said he wasn't going to be Captain America, which was absolutely nothing. I mean, like, his arc just died. Like, name something spectacular that Bucky did in this episode. Apart from open a door.
He brought cake to a barbecue. I mean, you asked, name one thing. I could go on.
Dude, I mean, yeah, you're right. Sorry. What am I thinking? He hung kids off his arm.
While chatting up their mum.
It's a new character, Bucky Barnes Lothario. That's what he's going to be going into from now on. He brought cake to a barbecue.
But I mean, I feel like he did have an arc, like the whole journey of detaching himself from the Winter Soldier identity.
I genuinely thought you were going to say detaching himself from his arm.
I knew you'd think that. But I honestly feel like he does have a good story arc. It's, you know, that whole character journey of who am I? Am I, you know, Barnes still? Am I, you know, this psycho robo killer? But at the same time, I think I think the titles at the end, because obviously it changes at the end credits from Falcon and the Winter Soldier to Captain America and the Winter Soldier. I think it should have changed both of them to be Captain America and the White Wolf.
Yeah, I love that. I love it was funny that they did change those titles right at the end, and like, you know, you gave that title away when you first announced the show as Captain America and the Winter Soldier right back after Endgame. You did, like, they did that and they changed it. It was like, oh yeah, Falcon and Winter. Sorry.
You know, no one saw that.
Yeah, nobody saw it, right? Nobody saw anything different. Yeah, I mean, he's not. He doesn't ever use the name White Wolf in the books, does he? I don't believe.
No, because normally the White Wolf is T'Challa's adopted brother Hunter. So,
yeah. Yeah. Look, this is the problem for me. I love Bucky. You know, I love Bucky Barnes. And I think that I've said it before. I think his arc would have been much better established if he became Captain America. It's nothing against Sam Wilson. It's nothing against Sam Wilson becoming Captain America, because, you know, I really enjoyed the episode and I enjoyed seeing Sam as Captain America. But I just think I don't know where Bucky goes from here now. Like, that is that, you know, it almost felt like an ending, Bucky. Do you know what I mean? Like, it almost felt like that was it. There may not be any more Winter Soldier unless we do some big crossover events, because I just don't see what they can do with, what's he going to be like. And if, you know, there is a strong rumor that Sebastian Stan is going to apparently take over from Mark Hamill as Luke Skywalker in the Star Wars universe, which I don't know whether you've heard that, because they bear a very striking resemblance, which is quite weird. And it's coming out more and more that, like, he has to keep denying it more and more, which, as we know from Ewan McGregor, normally means there's probably something going on. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's just Bucky done. You know, if that's he's got his redemption, he's had his arc, he's said goodbye and told the people who he needed to tell, and now he can go and live with Sam's sister and bring cakes to more barbecues.
Yeah, I don't think he'll be done because he's become such a fan favorite, especially over this TV series. Not for your average fans, but I think like for people for the wider audience who don't read comic books and stuff. I think like he'll still be needed and wanted. I just think like his whole character journey is kind of saying what Zemo said about people who take the serum usually have like bad tendencies. The only exception was Steve, but of course Bucky was a tool. He was a product of bad intentions, sort of thing.
He wouldn't like you calling him that.
No. But his and again his whole, I think it's quite a nice journey because he feels that he would have tainted the mantle of the Shield because he's this product of of a bad way and stuff. So I think it's quite a nice story in that regard. And he even says like, me and Steve had the conversation that you would be better to take it, and I was like, oh my god, Bucky.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, that's fine and everything, and but I disagree with you in the sense of, because he's so popular, they wouldn't not use him. Like, look at RDJ and Chris Evans. I would argue that they are super popular, like as Iron Man and Captain America, like super popular, and they're done. They ain't coming back. Especially in the case of Chris Evans, like if he had any opportunity to come back, this was it. This was it in some form. He would have come back in this one, and he didn't, and he's gone. And he's gone. And it's the same with Robert Downey Jr. Sure, he may come back as like a in the odd hologram or that in the they're done. Their arcs are over. I don't think I think people forget how long Sebastian Stan has been Bucky. He's been Bucky the same amount of time that Chris Evans has been Captain America.
I'll trump you. I'll trump you right now.
Go on.
You ready?
Do I need to remind you about the wings?
Loki.
Yeah.
I mean, he's died so many times. He's got his own TV series now, and he was needed for Thor: Dark World so much that they had to do reshoots for extra Loki scenes.
So I will. Yes, I will take your Loki and I will raise you. So the reason why Loki has been back so much is because between phase 1 and 2, they were screaming for good villains because the villains sucked in the MCU, and they just were squandered. I mean, I still to this day get angry about their use of Red Skull.
Yeah.
To this day, I still get furious because if you've only seen the MCU and you haven't read any of the comic book, you are missing out because the Red Skull is incredibly devious and horrible and a monster in the book, and is so much more than he is depicted in the MCU. And that's nothing against Hugo. So like, the phase 1 and 2 villains were not used properly. And so Loki, I would argue that if they had some decent villains, why wouldn't they use some of the Black Order in like Avengers? Like you could have had like Ebony Maw like coming and leading the invasion. It didn't have to be Loki. It was just that Tom Hiddleston was really good and charismatic, and they had no other villains. It could have been like Tesseract wise, arguably that should have been Red Skull.
Yeah,
because Red Skull is the one in the books. Red Skull is obsessed with the power of the Tesseract.
Yeah.
And it would have been a perfect fit because you could have had him going into space, because of the cube, and then he turns up years and years later, invasion. They could have quite easily done that. He's being led by another dictating, horrible monster, who believes what he's doing is right. Where have we heard that before? So yes, Loki is a rare case. I would argue as well that I would say Loki's had less involvement in the MCU, over the years because there's been really big gaps. Like I know that Bucky had a big gap between, Cap 1 and then Cap 2. But
Yeah.
after Cap 2, Bucky's been in it pretty consistently ever since. Whereas I would argue that Loki hasn't. He's there's Thor 1, Thor 2, Avengers.
Yeah.
And then after Thor 2, there's a big gap before Ragnarok where he's back.
Yes.
And then he dies in Infinity War, right at the beginning.
Yeah.
Until Endgame, where he's now like in the multiverse. And the reason why I don't mind Loki right now is because this is all new. Like, he's changed reality by escaping. Like, so literally, we have no idea where this is going to go. Like, there's no thing. Like I think I suggested the only thing that's quite interesting with Bucky is if they did a multiverse thing, where he's Cap in another reality or something. Because for my money, this Bucky has nowhere to go now. Like, they've exhausted everything that he, I don't see a path for him, and I don't want to see. Me personally, I don't really give a damn about seeing Bucky as like a side piece. That sounded weird. As a side character over there, just helping out Sam Will. I just don't. I don't like it.
Interesting.
Maybe I'm a cult of one thinking that, but I'm talking a lot.
You're just so passionate about Bucky. That's all.
I'm so passionate about Bucky. I love his robot arm. It would be interesting. It would be interesting to see if he does migrate to Wakanda permanently. Like, if he turns, I'll tell you what would make me really interested is if he turns up in Black Panther 2 after, because obviously, rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman. He's gone, and if this is what I would find quite interesting. Actually, this is another path that wouldn't be if he comes into Black Panther 2, and Shuri is learning how to be Black Panther, and she needs a form of mentor. Yeah. And like Bucky is that mentor to her. That would be interesting. I can see that. I can see being quite, because there is that Wakanda connection already.
Yeah.
And that's what they'll call it. It'll be Black Panther 2 Wakanda connection. But I think that would be quite nice if he fits into quite
I quite like the idea of that. Yeah. I know we touched on it last week about him going into space or working for Sword. The only other sort of idea I had is, what if he found Captain Britain? Like,
I mean, that's a possibility.
Goes, around the world. Maybe he bumps into a few mutants. Who knows?
Oh man, that'd be great if he goes like around the world. Amazing. Like, he's just like, that'd be so around the world, and that'd be great. Oh, that would be fantastic. Yeah, I think the only place that you can really go with Bucky is like kind of mentoring role now.
Yeah,
I think if he's not going to be a mainstay hero like Cap or something like that, then I think they have to. I think they have to do a mentoring situation. So if they discover Captain Britain, if Captain Britain shows up, which I assume he will do at some point, then cool. I think he's going to become much less of a focus, because let's be frank, Fantastic Four's coming in, X-Men are showing up soon. It's going to get a lot more crowded. We've already talked about them bringing in other heroes like Shang-Chi, the Eternals.
Yeah.
Where is Bucky's place in the world? I've just like appealed to myself even more with that Black 2 idea. I think that's a great idea. I hope they actually do my idea. You heard it here first, folks. If they go for it, Marvel, come calling. I've got a lot of great ideas. Yeah, Feige, get over here.
One big plot twist: Sharon Carter.
Oh, yeah, I was wrong about that, wasn't I? I think I did say Marvel probably do the rubbish thing of making her the power broker, something like that. Yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
From a viewer point of view, I saw it coming for two reasons. The first one being is the iPhone theory. For those who don't know, with movies and TV shows, the villain won't use an iPhone.
What? Like, I don't know who has something against Samsung that like they just put them always on bad guys.
Hey, don't assume it's a Samsung. It could
Oh, that's
be
true.
any
Sorry.
Android phone.
Sorry, other phones are available out there, ladies and gentlemen.
But yeah, there was the iPhone theory, and at the same time, it was just way too late in the game to introduce a new character. Like in the last episode, it'd be like, and here's a new character that happens to be the Power Broker. Like, yeah, if it wasn't Sharon, then I thought it would be Val. But again,
I know what you said there, and I heard what you said, but in my mind, I chose the.
Say that again. You chose.
Oh, did it cut out? I apologize if it cut out. I said yes. You're right. I heard what you. But in my head, I just heard it should have been the Mandarin.
Oh yeah, your pitch was way better. Like that was just absolutely. It was so much building a bigger story, but
you may find it still is. You may find that it's a double, triple Marvel swerve.
Well, we don't know who she's on the phone to, because even once she gets reinstated back, she still makes a couple of calls to say, "Hey, I've got some connections now."
I'm not against Agent 13 being the power broker. It's just I feel like it's a lot less interesting. I mean, I guess they had to give Sharon Carter something now that Cap is gone, but I'm not saying that Sharon Carter's character is purely based around Cap either, just for anyone out there watching. But I don't know. I was hoping for more from that. You know, it's the same as like the old Mephisto plot with WandaVision. I was hoping for more, and I was slightly disappointed when it wasn't there. But you know, I mean, it is what it is, and that's what they're rolling with. Because fair enough.
There we go.
Up 4.
Well, one last thing I just wanted to mention. This is kind of a weird thing, but well, obviously all the Flag Smashers got blown up by Zemo's butler.
Yes.
Which was hilarious.
Zemo's
and for
butler.
a moment, me and Zozo were like, "Who's that?" And I was like, "I'm pretty sure that's his butler."
Alfred?
Who was it? I think for a second she thought it was Old Man Steve. And he's like, "One last time."
Yes, the psychopathic murdering Old Man Steve. Yeah, he's got shell shock from World War II, and he's cracked, and he's just gone on a murder spree.
But in the comics, when he became Old Man Steve, he still became the head of S.H.I.E.L.D., right? So
yes,
could have been like,
dude, what if oh my god, what if that's what's happened? That's why he's not in the show, because he's the head. No, seriously, think about it. What if he's the head of S.W.O.R.D. and he's up on the moon, like legit? Because they all keep talking about the fact that Captain America's up on the moon.
So that's supposed to be a reference to that comic book run.
Yeah, but the point is they've already established that S.W.O.R.D. is up in space already in the MCU. So what if he actually do that? That would be hilarious.
There we go.
Oh man.
So yeah, the Flag Smashers are gone, but there's still one left, which was the pilot Diego, believe it or not, that Sam yeeted out of the helicopter into the Hudson.
Yeeted. Carly, by the way, was the lead Flag Smasher that I couldn't remember the name of, that I now have remembered. Carly was her name. Sorry for everyone screaming at the podcast. Like, and it was Carly, not Kiri. Yeah, Carly. Now, the thing I wanted to ask you was, yes, the old yeeter who went straight out of the helicopter. Is Carly actually dead? Because I know that Sam says, that lady died for it and stuff, but we never actually see her body incinerated.
Well, no, but he does the whole kind of like flying in with a body drapes in his arms. Like,
yeah, does that mean she's dead?
I'm more suspicious about LeFrog. I saw a hand drop on the floor, but
well, yeah, I mean, yeah, LeFrog. Yeah, whatever happened to LeFrog?
Yeah, right.
Baltrock or Balrog? Baltrock, right?
I'm gonna let you lead
I
on
think
that
it.
one.
I think it's Baltrock the Leaper. I need to look that up. Sorry, carry on. Talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah, so I wonder if
It is
we
Baltrock.
will.
Yeah,
Yeah, I wonder
Batroc.
if Diego will become like a product for Captain America 4, or like maybe he has a similar fate to that of Isaiah Bradley.
Good Lord, Zane. Are they doing Captain America 4?
They are doing Captain America 4.
My goodness. Wow. Well, there you go. Who would have thought?
Who
That
would have
they
thought?
I think actually, so I know that they have confirmed they're working on a Captain America 4. I assume it's going to be, I mean, it's obviously led by Anthony Mackie. They haven't announced any other casting, have they? It's purely.
No,
Did they say
nothing.
that I thought that the director of the series has been attached to the movie.
Yes, that's right. So I've made a note here. The showrunner Spellman is co-writer on the show, on the movie, I should say. So yeah, I wonder where they will go with this. I mean, I don't think they'll do any more with Isaiah Bradley, as much as I enjoyed that throughout this entire series, because
Yes.
his whole sort of character journey is finished with the Smithsonian, which
Yep.
was amazing. But I do wonder again if his grandson will. I don't know. I might be.
I wouldn't be surprised if his grandson turns up in the Ms. Marvel show, and
Yeah.
they start to do Young Avengers. I would not be surprised at all by that. Yeah, I think you're right. I think Isaiah Bradley's arc is done. That was a nice fitting thing. I think the main reason why he was in there was to put that weight of a black man being Captain America. I think that was the main device for why he was in there. And they did it really well. To be fair, it was excellent.
Executed beautifully.
I agree with you. I think it's done. I think that his obviously I think I asked this. It's Patriot, isn't it? That
Yeah.
his grandson becomes. My biggest question that I have coming out of Cap 4 would be, who is the villain?
Yeah.
Because the face you just pulled is for those not watching on YouTube podcast. Zane did a face as if to say, and it's exactly what I was thinking, because I genuinely am trying to think of a Falcon America villain, and I cannot think of one.
I've got some theories. Do not worry.
Okay. Hit me with them. I wanna hear them.
So, villain-wise, I'm thinking they may adaptate the Captain Falcon run, which had the Whisperer, who worked, I believe, at Sword, but it was all to do with the Cosmic Cube, aka the Tesseract.
Yeah.
So I assume it could play into that, because obviously Loki, like you said, is doing his time travel stuff, and I wonder if there'll be like a let's find the Tesseract and put it back in the right place, but not necessarily in that context. I think like Sam might have the Tesseract, but he's fighting, I don't know, government officials or whatnot for it.
I'm not sure if I'm just had a quick look now. I've just literally looked for Captain America Sam Wilson villains, and one of the main ones that's come up is actually U.S. Agent. So I wonder if they're gonna if because what's his name, Wyatt Russell is quite he's quite a big name now.
Yeah.
So they probably could bring him back for, but is it is he enough of a villain?
The only other sort of thing I could think of as well is I remember originally they were going to do the Serpent storyline.
Yeah, okay.
But obviously that got changed for Civil War.
Yeah.
So I wonder if they'll go back and try and redo it, but then
Yeah, possibly.
Hydra stuff doesn't really kind of work as well with Sam because it's not his, it's not the same as Steve, because Steve obviously has been fighting at Hydra like his whole career.
Yeah, that's the only. Whilst we touch on that as well, the Hydra thing. That's the only way I think that you could probably bring Chris Evans to the MCU is if you had bad Cap, if you had Hydra Cap.
Yeah,
that's the only way I think it would work, and that would be very interesting. Also, see the problems with that in Falcon America's first film. You bring back the guy who used to be Cap. I really don't know. I'm really struggling to think of a villain to have in Captain America 4. If anyone can think of any villains or suggest it, please write into it at Undisputed Nerds. Because I cannot. I'm really struggling to think of someone. Unless they go with like an estate. Use Loki. We've already been over it. It's like Tom Hiddleston's like just he's automatically got Feige on mail now, where it's like, hello, you've reached the voicemail of Tom Hiddleston. If it's about certain acting roles, then please leave a message. If it's Marvel, just press 3 and I'll be in touch soon. Just the automatic response for getting Loki back.
Yeah. Or he's got a Dropbox where Feige just drops in a contract.
Yeah, just like a brown paper bag with just the contract in it, and just and a page of a script, so that it doesn't ruin everything.
Perfect.
But yeah, I don't know. I have to be honest with you. I'm a bit meh about a Cap 4, precisely for that reason of like I just don't know the face, and how believable it would be to have Sam Wilson fighting someone like superpowered. He didn't. I would say that the show did a very good job of showing how good he was at being Falcon. Because his air skills were awesome, and then in the final episode, what was his main thing? Well, he saved some people in a helicopter. That's what he would have done as Falcon as well. The fight with Carly didn't really do great in. He only survived it because Sharon Carter melted someone's face and then shot Carly. And then he what else did he do? He fought Batroc the Leaper and kind of ran away.
You're not sold on this, are you?
I'm not sold on it. I'm not sold on it.
I can hear it.
He needs something convincing to make me like properly invest. I think he's great. I think he's a great character and a great hero. And I think his speech at the end was awesome. I loved it and it was very captivating. The thing that is lacking for me is the physical to be able to handle, world threats, because the MCU has upped the stakes so much now that it's like, well, you know what? You're going to be in a situation where, Thanos' equivalent is going to come along. And I don't believe, for me, it was 100% believable Steve Rogers standing one man against 100,000 invaders and actually going for it to the point where it's like, I can do this all day. Sam, I think he would get up and he'd like fall over his wings.
Oh, come on!
Like Wong would open the portal and he'd fall backwards into Wakanda.
No.
I like how much this is bothering you.
I feel like you're venting now.
I am venting. It should have been Bucky, damn it.
You're entitled to your opinions. That's all I can say. You're entitled to your opinions.
I want to see who the villain is before I make any snap decisions. That's the main thing.
I mean, would it be too soon to have Madam Hydra? I mean, now we know she's about. Do you think it'd be too soon?
No, I don't think so at all. I think that's a really good. I think that's a really good idea. Like genuinely, I think that's a great idea. Because you're right. Like Steve dealt with Hydra the whole time. How does Sam deal with that?
Yeah, and like I guess the only other thing is like Val was supposed to be introduced in the Scarlet Widow movie. Scarlet Widow? Black Widow.
Oh, Black Widow.
Sorry.
You've mixed Black Widow and Scarlet Witch. It's all right.
And Scarlett Johansson at the same time. I was like,
I've kept you awake too late. We're doing this podcast later at night than we. It's my fault, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, sorry about that. Sorry, Senpai.
It's okay, but yeah, I think that we would have been introduced to Madam Hydra by now, from the rumors, I should say, and then we would have seen her popped up in Falcon and Winter Soldier, which we did. So yeah, I kind of wonder if that's kind of the thread.
Is Val Madam Hydra though?
Is she not?
No, not in the books. I mean, she's like there is one occasion when she is Madam Hydra in one of the comics. I can't remember what it is, but it's a very fleeting thing. No, Val normally for Nick Fury. She's effectively she's not necessarily an agent of Shield. I was talking to my friend about this the other day. She's kind of a will do anything black books, set up any kind of number of things, secret agent. She's essentially like for a long time, I think, pure espionage. Yeah. She's like Nick Fury's right hand, right hand for right eye for like killing people and stuff like that. She's pretty lethal in the books. I can't remember like her full backstory. She's only Madam Hydra very very briefly. I think it's if Viper is normally Madam Hydra in the comics.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can see them introducing. I still think it's I can see them introducing definitely as a foil for Sam, and I really like the idea. Like that, I do like deal with an insurgent force growing from within again. And how this Captain America would deal with it. So yeah, I can see that possibly. We don't. The other thing is we don't know what's going to happen with Loki and the Time Variance Authority. So there is a high chance that certain. It is still my belief that we haven't seen the full ramifications of all the snaps, and the people who were brought back to life. And my theory, still in the back of my mind, is they killed off some very good villains, and there's nothing to say that they didn't come back in the snap. I know that you can't technically bring people back who weren't snapped, but we don't know the full ramifications of what happened yet. So I wouldn't be surprised if they brought back Red Skull, for example, Zemo. Not Zemo. Zemo's already arrived. Sorry, Zola. Arnim Zola.
Or,
they could eat
Crossbones.
Yeah, exactly. So I would say that there's probably a very good chance to see some renewed villains, I think, from phase one that weren't necessarily treated the best way. I mean, Malekith is like, that's a great example of it. I know it's not a Falcon bad guy, but like, you talk about wasted in the films. Like, as much as I love Christopher Eccleston, and I do love Christopher Eccleston, wasted. Malekith, wasted. I'm in a very salty mood tonight,
I can
Senpai.
tell.
I don't mean to be. I apologize. I don't mean
it's
to.
Okay. It's all right. I mean, you're not angry.
I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed in Bucky not being Cap.
Oh no. That's really patronising. I'm sorry.
It was patronising. It's offensive. I'm hurt. I'm hurt. Just like Sam Wilson would be when he tries to fight someone.
Oh no. One last thing that we both know is Joaquin Torres will probably show up in Cap 4 as the new Falcon.
Yeah.
With the red wings.
Yeah. Not red wing. Red wings.
Red wings. Because Sam's got blue wings now. Don't get it confused.
Yes. What's that? Sorry, you said Sam's got what?
He's got vibranium wings.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I was right. I was right. Yeah, that's what I wanted to hear. That's what I wanted to hear, Senpai. Thanks.
Yeah, it's not a jetpack like I had in my
head.
It's
the
full. It's the full wings. Yeah.
Oh God, it's good hearing you say that.
I'm sure it is. Shall we move on to the last part of this podcast, where we like to talk about what we've been watching, what we've been playing, what we've been reading, all that stuff.
So much stuff. so much stuff. I've not read, played, or done anything. I've just been in a box for a week. It's been
Just
fantastic.
existed.
I've just breathed just for a week. Yeah. Yeah. You start, my dear, and I will.
Yeah.
Follow up.
So where does one begin? In terms of what?
Oh my god! How much have you got?
In terms of what I've been playing, I re-download the Marvel Avengers game.
Oh, you didn't, did you?
I did.
Oh, is it better than it was?
I haven't played it yet.
How can you say you played it then? This is
Wow, I opened it up.
We're in a section talking about what we played.
I opened it up. I went through the store and I was like, oh, I could get a Ronin costume. Do I spend the cash?
I feel you've misunderstood this segment, Senpai. I feel it's not what have we looked at and then not bothered with.
Hey, I opened the game. That's a start.
Yeah, to be fair, once you've opened the game and seen the main menu, basically played that Avengers game because it's terrible.
The time is clocking. It's saying you've clocked 2 minutes, and I've been looking at a costume.
Man, I'll tell you what, that is wow. That is commitment, my friend. 2 minutes.
Wow, what can I say?
Oh, dude.
Nice.
Yeah, have you ever played the Avengers game before?
I did, yeah. I think I even streamed it as well at one point, but the Hulk was just terrible to play with, in my opinion.
It's just so sad. Like it was really. I only played the beta of it, the beta.
Yeah.
God, it was just like so much was promised from that, and it was Crystal Dynamics as well. Like, and you know, I love Deus Ex. Which they made, and I was so excited for it, and then it was just like a wet fart. It was just like, oh, that's this. Oh dear, it's not one thing or the other.
Yeah, I will. I'm definitely gonna give it another go because I know they've released a lot more content for it now, like the Hawkeye packs and stuff. So I'm really interested to see what's changed and if it has improved. But
it was the co-op thing was the thing that killed me the most. Was like it was supposed to have a fully fledged co-op fight to get Avengers through. You know, in my head, I was thinking back to like, you know, this is going to age me, but I was thinking back to like the early '90s, like X-Men. You know, the side scroll beat 'em up where you could pick if you wanted to be Cyclops or Colossus or Jean Grey, and then you know you can join in with mates and you fight as the X-Men going through. I thought it was going to be like that, not side-scrolling, obviously, but you know, modern day version of it. And I thought it was going to be like that, and it's like, you know, be Iron Man, play through the whole thing as Iron Man, and then you know, you can be, you know, Cap, and like we could fight through as the Avengers, or like, you know, I could be Kamala Khan and fight through as Miss Marvel, you know, and like drop in, drop out co-op stuff like that. And it wasn't. It was the story experience, which is fine, but it wasn't that great. And then there are certain missions that you can do in co-op, but like you can't unlock them until you've done a couple of the main missions on your own.
Yeah.
And by that time you're so used to playing it on your own, so it's like, what's the point?
And then they launch sort of raid based battles, which I think that's when the co-op kind of really cemented. But
yeah,
I think a lot of people drop off by that point.
Well, I'd be very interested to know, you know, once you've decided upon your outfit, what it's like. I would be interested because there was a game I was considering picking up and doing on stream. So,
interesting. Interesting. I think I'll pass the buck to you now. Anything you've been playing recently?
Anything I've been playing recently? Well, I can do a cheap plug for myself on Twitch. I am Gentleman Gamer 30, twitch.tv /Gentleman Gamer 30. Go and check me out. I have been playing.
Links will be in the description down below.
Oh, you're an absolute darling. Look at you. I've just been going back over some old games. I've been playing Arkham Knight, which it finished my marathon Arkham play through all of Arkham on stream. I genuinely I cannot begin to describe to you how much I've enjoyed playing Arkham Knight again. Like everyone badmouths it. It's fantastic. Well, not everyone bad. That's it had a terrible launch when it came out, and I hadn't played any. I bought the season pass when I started playing it on Twitch, and I hadn't played it. And man, it's just brilliant. Like it's just so well done, and it makes me sad that with the Arkham games, but also excited that they're doing so. Which we never talked about Gotham Knights, so it's a nice little bit. Yeah, I've been playing that on Twitch. I've also been playing The Evil Within 2, which again is a slightly older game. I've also bought a capture card because my PC is boop. So I'm going to try and I'm going to buy Resident Evil 8, which is coming out in a few weeks.
Nice.
And play that on stream through my capture card. So yeah, that's the games I'm playing at the moment. Suicide Squad is intriguing me as a game that Rocksteady are bringing out, because I mean, nobody knows anything about it, only that it's like you got to kill the Justice League basically. Apparently it is. I think it is set in the same Arkham universe. I think that's what I read.
Yeah, I think a lot of people were confused by it because the trailer for Gotham Knights made you think it was a sequel to Arkham Knight. Yeah. But it's not. That's its own separate.
It's so stupid.
But Suicide Squad, I believe you're right. I believe it's set in the Arkham universe, but it's going to be in Metropolis, not Gotham.
Yeah. I'm really excited for. I made a weird noise then with my mouth. Sorry guys. I am really genuinely super am, because I have much like Bucky Barnes, I have a immense Dick Grayson. The don't cut that in an awkward way as well, by the way. Senpai edits our audio, so there's every chance to edit I love Dick Grayson. And Nightwing is one of the main players. So I am super excited to play through Gotham Knights and see what it is. I'm also excited to be Red Hood in that as well. Because again, from playing Arkham Knight, you can play as Red Hood in DLC and all that stuff, and he's really great at like lethal. And I like shooting people as Red Hood. It's good. So yeah,
I'm looking forward to Gotham Knights as well. Just because it's supposed to be a similar sort of playstyle to, not playstyle, but it's that sort of looter shooter like Destiny, where you kind of grind to get gear and stuff like that. And I'm interested to see what sort of gear you can get.
I'm out. I thought it was going to be the same as Arkham. That's it. I'm done. That's it. Finished. Forget it. It's dead to me. This is the good thing about me and Senpai. We have various differences when it comes to game taste and like looter shooters like Apex. Yeah, forget that.
Well, not the same as those, but again, it's kind of similar to the Marvel game. You could say, you get your gear and you level up your gear to make yourself a better.
You were trying to sell me on it.
We could co-op together.
Oh, that's it. I'm sold. I'm in. I'm in. That's it. Yeah.
But who's the bigger Grayson? One of us is going to have to be the dick.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I've just been left with Tim Drake.
There's nothing wrong with Tim.
You're right.
Tim would be my second choice.
I've got a tiny Todd.
An angry Todd.
An angry Todd. Oh God, I hope not. Yeah.
Has there been anything you've been reading?
Yeah. Well, have you been reading anything? You first. Oh.
You know what? Actually,
a little bit of the bubbly.
A little bit of the bubbly. I did dig something out. Actually, hold on 1 second.
Oh no, he's off, guys. I can say whatever I want. This is my chance. He's a monster. He's a monster. He's out to get me. Seriously, guys, you've got to save me. So anyway, yeah, that'll be cool.
Yeah, I
got this. Wait, that's Punisher against Falcon America?
Yes, it is.
Oh, is that brand new?
No, I've had it for numerous years, but I thought now would be a good time to read it.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay. Well, there you go. There you go. Villain for Captain America confirmed.
It's called Last Days. I might drop an Amazon link in the description. Yeah, why
Yeah,
not?
do it. Do it. Let's get some sweet Amazon kickback from the sponsorship that we don't have with them.
Maybe you do have an affiliate link.
So you don't know what it's like yet. You're going to read that. That's what you are going to read.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, I can't unearth it because it's buried beneath stuff at the moment. I've just been opening up my capture card today, but I've been reading X-Men House of X, Power of X, which was the big event from like maybe it was like year before last, I think they did.
Yeah.
Which it's really trippy and weird. So like for those of you who don't know, it basically so it's really honestly it's long. It's a big. I'm gonna and show you.
I was just going to ask you is how are you reading it? Are you reading because the way it was released was not awkward, but there were some people that were just reading House of X, and there's other people just reading.
It's massive. Like it's huge. It's pretty much the entire. Yeah, it's House of X and Powers of X combined. So it's the two books together. How am I reading it? I'm going chapter by chapter. Is how I'm reading it.
Does it go like House of X, then Power of X, then House of X, then Power of X, like in that sort of chronological order, or is it?
I don't know. From what I can gather, it's doing all of House of X and then do all of Power of X.
Okay.
In this particular book, I don't know whether it's going to be different in others. Yeah, it's literally just House of X / Power of X. Part like you can see there, just literally, it just divides the two. Can you see?
Yeah.
So for those of you listening right now, it does say House of X / Power of X 3. So yeah, yeah, it's really interesting. It's very. I don't know how much I like it. So I'm one of these traditionalists of, Charles Xavier has to fit a very particular narrative, and he has to be full of hope and the betterment of mutant kind through unification with humankind. And Power of X, House of X seems like he's abandoned that, and it's more about his unification and making mutant kind a predominant life form on the planet. And it seems like the way that they've done that. So I don't know whether do you want spoilers for this? Do you care about spoilers for it?
I think. Let's say no spoilers.
No spoilers. Okay. Well, basically, the book takes place in 4 different time zones.
Mm-hmm.
So it takes place in X-Men original what we picture when you think of the X-Men. It takes place in current day X-Men. Then it takes place 100 years later, 1,000 years later, and what's happened to the world and mutant kind in that time period. And I'll talk about present day because that won't give you any spoilers. But basically, Xavier has unified mutants and established a mutant. What's the word? Country.
Yeah.
Called Krakoa. So Krakoa is a mutant island.
Yeah.
Knows it. It's it's okay. I won't go into too much detail about it because I don't want to. It's really interesting. I don't know. I haven't read the whole thing yet, so I don't know how it ends. But there's some very interesting themes that are coming out in it. And I'm enjoying it. I am enjoying it. It is, but yeah, definitely it goes against the flow of what I expect from an X-Men book, which is a good thing sometimes. And some of the character choices, again, without going into some of the character choices, are interesting. I would have never thought of them in that particular way, but again, good. Yeah, that's what I'm reading. I'm about halfway through, so it's good. It's very good.
Amazing.
I also read The King in Black as well, which is the symbiote crossover.
Yeah, the Venom event.
Yeah, the Venom event. Yeah. Again, I won't go into spoilers, but I wasn't a huge fan of it. I'm going to be honest.
I started reading it, and then when I saw how many books it kind of splintered into, like just side. What's the word I'm looking for? Not side books, but
crossovers, like
sort of
subplots or.
Yeah, it's because obviously the main book is like 6 issues, but then it goes into all these like then it's in Daredevil, and then it's in this, and it's in that.
That is exactly the problem I had with it. Was I read the 6 issues, and it's just kind of like,
yeah,
it was what was that? Man, they did an event. Like Marvel did an event a few years back.
War of the Realms.
Yes, War of the Realms. Thank you. Yes, they did War of the Realms, and I had the same feeling. Everyone, War of the Realms is amazing. Oh, it's so good. You should read it. It's great. And then I bought it and I read it, and I was like, I mean, it's fine. Yeah. I preferred the new Secret Wars. Like, I actually prefer the one where Doctor Doom has battle. Like, I much preferred that one. Sorry, spoilers for for a almost 10-year-old comic now.
That was Hickman as well, wasn't it? Because Hickman did that, and he's done Hawks and Pox. So yeah.
I don't know. King in Black was.
It'll do better in trade. It has to.
Yes,
it's going to be one of those.
Yes, I agree. I agree completely. But yeah, I'm trying to think of what I'm looking for coming up as far as books are concerned. And the answer is nothing. I don't have anything to look forward to. Nothing at all. You know.
Dear.
No, that's not true. That's not true. I've actually gone back. I'm actually going to, with the X-Men, I'm going to go back and start reading. It's funny because we were talking about it before, guys. A little behind the scenes there, but I'm going to go back and start reading the Scott Snyder run of Batman. So when he did Batman a few years back, I never actually finished it. I got up to Endgame, which was when they revealed that Joker was. And then I stopped after that. So I've just finished the trades of. I've just got the 8, 9, 10. So I'm going to go back and finish that off, which I'm looking forward to. That's going to be good. But yeah, I need to get back into some more modern comics. I feel I've kind of like back on comics recently for games and TV. So I would like to start picking them up again. Modern comics, that is. I did read Miles as well, which was awesome. So much stuff, Senpai. There's just so much out there.
There's so much. Oh my gosh, so much.
We will be covering a nice chunk of it on this show.
Absolutely.
In the future.
Absolutely. Yes, we'll be broadening your horizons as well as our own in the conquest of becoming undisputed.
We are already. But
we
just want to prove our point.
Yeah, we just want to take the crown. So if you're not already, make sure to follow, subscribe, drop a comment down below. Did you agree with the gentleman on the other side of the screen? Did you feel the same about the finale? Do you feel the same about what may happen with Captain America #4? Let us know in the comments down below, because we want to know what your thoughts are. As always, again,
give us a villain. Give us a villain for Cap 4, because we have no idea.
Drop us a like and a subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube. Give us a star rating if you're listening to this on your favorite podcast platform. All of our social media links will be in the description down below, so if you want to follow us on Twitter or Instagram, that'll be available. And last but not least, our YouTube channel and Twitch channel will be in the description down below as well. So if you want to come check us out live and say hello, come say hello.
Oh, yeah, come say hello. That'd be lovely. Be very nice. You're such a professional, honestly, Senpai. I can't take it.
I've been doing this for nearly a year now, so
I know it's terrifying. I'm clinging onto your coattails for dear life now.
I have to end every conversation with, make sure you drop a like and subscribe.
It is getting quite tedious when he rings me on the phone.
As always, be yourself, be kind, and thank you for joining us.
Thanks very much, guys. We will see you next week.
Ta-ta for now.
Bye.